Let's think about it. Let's really think about it. Paradigms. What are they? A paradigm is a mental program that has almost exclusive control over our habitual behavior. Now think about that. And here's what you want to remember. Almost all of our behavior is habitual. When you get up in the morning, you follow a routine. If you're married, your spouse follows a routine and you don't mess around with the other person's routine. That's just the way it works. Now let's take a look at what a paradigm is and how it controls us. This is really important. Your paradigm. Let's look at the areas of your life your paradigm has enormous influence over. Your paradigm controls your perception. Paradigm programming. I'll frequently go up to a person in a seminar and I'll say, if I ask the audience what color you were, what would they tell me? They'd say I'm black. Okay? And you'd say, I'm white. But the truth is you're not black and I'm not white. Now everybody looks at me, where's he going? The person's skin may be dark, but it's not black. My skin may be light, but it's not white. If you ever saw a white person, you'd probably scream and run. See, the problem is we don't see with our eyes. We see through our eyes. We see with cells of recognition in our brain. Our perception is messed up. We see something that isn't even there. And even after I say that, they say, no, he's black. No, not white. That's what you see. You see with cells of recognition in your brain. Well, when you shift your perception, everything in your world changes. You see, my perception of what I was capable of doing like that started to change when I had the right information. See, you've got to spend time and you've got to spend money if you're going to change you. Back around 1970, Alvin Toffler wrote a book called Future Shock. And the idea behind it was the future is going to shock people. And it was a prediction of what was going to happen over the next 40 or 50 years. And I remember reading a book. I was working at Nightingale Conant in Chicago at the time, and it was quite a popular book, and everybody said, wow, this couldn't possibly happen. Well, we thought Alvin Toffler was really daydreaming, and he really was, but he fell short. We did far more than what he projected. Now, recently, Toffler came out again. And he said the illiterate of the 21st century are not going to be the people who cannot read and write. They're going to be the people who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. Now think about that. They're going to be the people who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. This is really important. Our paradigm causes our perception. Our paradigm controls our use of time. Everybody gets exactly the same amount of time. They get all there is. You see, it's what we do with our time that makes the difference. One individual will accomplish more in a week than another person will in a year. Some people can earn more in a day than other people will in a year. How are you utilizing your time? People buy time management programs. That is a joke. Time can't be managed. No one can manage time. The only thing we can manage is activities. Now think about it. Do you know the paradigm controls our creativity? We'll find people say, well, I'm really not creative. Why do we have great big companies and little wee creative departments? Because we're raised to believe some people are creative and some are not. Everybody is creative. We have these creative faculties. What we want to do is learn how to develop them. Think. How about being effective? Our perception controls, or our paradigm controls our effectiveness. You see, the paradigm is a program in our subconscious mind that controls the vibration we're in, therefore it controls what we do, and it controls what we attract into our life. Our paradigm controls our productivity. It literally controls our productivity. As I shift my paradigm, my productivity goes right through the roof. Our paradigm controls our logic. And you know something? Logic is that ceiling we keep banging against. When those two young bicycle mechanics back around 1903 from Dayton, Ohio said, we're going to get a plane in the air, everybody thought they were out of their mind, but they got it in the air. Now somebody said, but they only kept it up there for 14 seconds. It was a matter of perception. They said, we not only got it in the air, we kept it in the air for 14 seconds. And look at today. You know, last week I flew to Dubai on Emirates. And I had a little room to myself. I had a shower. I had a shower going over and I had a shower coming back. The floor is heated when you get out of the shower. This is at 35,000, 40,000 feet, going a few hundred miles an hour. Long ways from where the paradigm was changed by the Wright brothers. The whole world believed we couldn't fly. They went through logic. Logic has changed. The world believed that you couldn't get to the top of Mount Everest. I had the good fortune of working with Edmund Hillary on 2 or 3 occasions. The only difference in him and anybody else is his size. He was a big man. He's gone now, God bless him, but he changed a lot of paradigms. Your paradigm also controls your ability to earn money. That's right. When you change your paradigm like that, your income starts to change. You see, you should spend everything you've got and all the time you've got to really get in and understand this concept of paradigms, because it'll change your life. Now look at it. You're boxed in the way you are. There's actually a box around all these areas. You try and you try and you try. You try to get more out of the day. You know, you try and earn more money. But we're boxed in. We're boxed in. And I don't care how hard you try, you hit those walls. And next month will be much the same as this month. I could go to any sales manager, and I guarantee you, just go on their computer, and they will tell me what any one of their salespeople are going to do in August. And they won't be far off. They can predict what the sales are going to be. Why? Because people don't change much. You don't change much unless you understand paradigm. And then you can change anything. Now look at it. When you decide to change the paradigm, at that moment, watch, the walls come tumbling down. That doesn't mean anything changes, but now it can change. And I want you to just imagine how your entire life will change as you begin improving any or all of these areas. My goodness, I watch people and the change is enormous. Imagine, the change can be huge. The change can be huge. And here's something else. When you change the paradigm, the change is permanent. I have never gone back. Never gone back. I keep going ahead. I keep earning more. I keep having more fun. I keep becoming more productive. Think of it this way for a moment. Let's suppose you just mastered the use of your time. You managed your activities. When you wake up in the morning like that, you're productive. You really get things flying. Have you any idea, if that was the only thing you changed, how much more money you'd earn? It would be enormous. You know all you need to do? All you need to do is make a decision. It's so simple and so misunderstood. Now, of course, you're going to be laughed at by almost everyone. When you tell them that you're involved in this program or you're going to do that, they'll laugh at you. You know, I like what James Cookie said. He said, do just once what others say you can't do, and you'll never pay attention to their limitations again. Just do once what others say you can't do. I really don't pay any attention to what anybody tells me when they tell me I can't do something. I know I can. Now, I'm going to take you through a process here that it's earth-shattering if you really understand it. I want you to let that represent you. Now, the X represents, that's the algebraic equation for the unknown. Everybody has a paradigm. Everybody. I've got one. And when you change it, then you've got to change it again. You're forever upgrading it. You see, your spiritual DNA is perfect. You were created in God's image. You've got phenomenal potential locked up within you, deep reservoirs of talent and ability that you can bring to the surface. We're going to say the paradigm represents X. The paradigm controls the vibration that this thing is in. The body is a molecular structure. It's a mass of molecules and a very high speed of vibration. Your body vibrates so fast it appears to be still. If you had a Curlian photography or a Curlian camera, you could actually photograph the energy leaving the body. Your body's in a very high speed of vibration, and the vibration dictates what you attract into your life. What kind of thoughts do we think? There's a power flowing into our consciousness. We can think anything we want. We think thoughts that are in harmony with the paradigm. Now, I want you to listen really carefully. The paradigm controls the vibration. On a conscious level, we say the vibration is feeling. Somebody says, how do you feel? You say, I don't know, I don't feel that good today. Now, what they could say is, I'm consciously aware that I'm in a bit of a negative vibration. Or if they say, I feel phenomenal, they could say, I'm consciously aware of being in a very positive vibration. We choose thoughts that are in harmony with the paradigm because it doesn't upset the apple cart. It keeps us in the same vibration. Now, people are in a vibration that's giving them results they don't want, but they're comfortable in it. That's what you call the comfort zone. They're thinking thoughts that are in harmony with what they're doing. They may not like the results, but they feel comfortable. Now, this is a process. We're going to go ahead. So watch this for a moment. Now, that was called bondage. This one's called reason. We're going to say a why idea comes into the conscious mind. Now, somebody may be giving you a why idea about how you could change the direction of your life right now. I'm giving you one right now. I'm going to ask you to make a decision. It's a why idea. Some people have a why idea. My brother-in-law, when he was in his early 50s, he had built 3 safety supply companies for other people. He had run them and built them. An opportunity came for him to buy a small safety supply company. They were scared. My sister and my brother-in-law were scared. They were in their early 50s. They mortgaged their house, they took all their savings, and they bought this little company. They were scared stiff. I said, go for it. Well, today that company's a multi-million-dollar company. They're sort of semi-retired. Their son and his sons run the company. It's operating all over North America. Very successful company. See, it was a why idea. Now, many people entertain why ideas. I get a why idea. Maybe I'm going to move to another city. I get a why idea. I'm going to buy something, buy a new car. I'm going to quit my job and start a business. That's a why idea. As long as the idea remains in the conscious mind, everything's cool. Nothing happens. Yet when you get emotionally involved in the idea, when you go to act on it, that all hell breaks loose. Now let's look at this. Here we are here. The why idea is impressed upon the X-type energy. You move into what's called an XY vibration. A barrier comes bouncing up, we call a terror barrier. Worry, fear, and anxiety strike, and like that, you're right back where? Into bondage. That happens at warp speed. You've got to realize you're dealing with the central nervous system, the most complex electrical system known to man. And that's what you're dealing with. When you get onto a track that you're not in harmony with, everything goes crazy. This is what Joseph Campbell says. The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. You should never, absolutely never ask someone else what they think you should do unless that person has already done what you want to do. Go to the experts for advice. Somebody asks me, should I mortgage my house and buy a business? I'd say, is that what you want? Then go for it. Because I'm going to tell you, I would not want to be real old, tied in a wheelchair, or in a cribbed bed. My mind is sharp as a tack, but my body spent. Looking back over my life saying, gosh, I wonder what would happen if we had done this. I wonder what would happen if we had done that. I wonder if I had listened to Proctor that time that I saw him on the computer. I wonder what would have happened. If only I could, but you can't. Wouldn't it be much better if you ended up there at the end of the road, reliving all those beautiful moves? What do? Look it. When you want to do something, you know that terror barrier is coming up. When you want to do something that you've never done, when you're going off into a space you've never been before, crash right through that terror barrier. Just go zingo, right through. Now, when you do that, does that eliminate the fear? No, it doesn't. But at least you know what's causing the fear. You see, you've got to go where you've never been. Steve Jobs put it very well. You cannot connect the dots looking ahead. You can only connect the dots looking backwards. The people that make it, they're going into the unknown all the time. Now, if you're following someone who really knows what they're talking about, I really know what I'm talking about when it comes to this subject. I train psychiatrists in this. I train managers in some of the largest companies in the world. I've helped, I don't know how many people become very wealthy. You've got to go through that terror barrier. And when you do that, everything beautiful starts to happen. Now I'm going to show you another thing. You're going to make a decision to do that. And when you keep impressing that over and over, the fear's still there. But one day, the old conditioning's gone. And now you're really comfortable in your new spot. Now you've experienced that in your life. You've already experienced it. Now you know what happens? The why turns into action. You start all over again. And that's how you keep going up, up, up. All the days of your life. Keep getting better. Better is a nice word. But you got to make decisions. Now I'm going to show you something about decisions most people never, ever learn. Look at this for a moment. Let these lines represent levels of vibration. Now, levels of vibration are more commonly referred to as frequencies, and you and I think on frequencies. We think on frequencies. So let's say that these puffy little clouds represent our thoughts. And our thoughts produce our results. That's where we started, isn't it? Take a look at the results. Why do we get this? It's because of the way we're thinking. So we keep thinking this way. We're going to keep getting the same results. But we say, that's where I want to go. That's where I want to go. I'm going to do that as soon as I get the money. I'm going to do that as soon as the kids are out of school. I'm going to do that as soon as what? The results aren't going to change because the thinking changes. You see, you've got to say, I'm doing that. And the second you make the decision, you flip your brain onto the frequency that you have to be on to think the thoughts you have to think to get the good you want. Just think in your past. Look in your past. You'll say, I want that. It didn't matter that you didn't have the money. You say, I'm going to do that. And you'd always find the money. Go take a look in your house. Take a look at all the stuff in your house. Most of it you don't need. You know why you got it? Because you wanted it. When you really want something, when you say, I'm going there, I'm going to make that happen, I make the decision, boom, 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 you get onto a new frequency. Do you know, I've started, I don't know how many companies. I've never had a business plan. I just have the picture, and then I go for it. You never heard Martin Luther King say, we have a strategy. No. He said, we have a dream. You got to have a dream. When you have a dream, then you act like the person you want to become. You see yourself already with it. Now look at. You've got to think. You really have to think. Now you're aware. You may not be really aware. I mean, I went over that fairly fast. But now you know how to make decisions. It's not whether you can afford it. It's not whether you have the time. It's do you really want it? We had a lady come to a seminar in 2006, right around the time The Secret hit. And she started to hear me. I was teaching actually a program, The Science of Getting Rich. She had never heard somebody talk like me before. Now, this lady wasn't just some ordinary gal. She was a lawyer, a banking lawyer. She had graduated from university, the #1 banking lawyer in all of the United States. She had been educated in some of the best schools in America and in Great Britain. She graduated, she had bachelor's, a master's, a doctorate. She graduated right at the top. So naturally, the big firms on Wall Street grabbed her. And she worked on Wall Street for quite a while. Top firms. Then she went back west because she was from Seattle. And she went into business with her dad, who was also a banking lawyer. Then he left to take over a bank, and she took the business over. and she built a banking practice. She'd done hundreds of millions, literally billions of dollars in business, buying banks, selling banks, merging banks, IPOs. But she had never heard what I was teaching. And she made up her mind she was going to learn everything that I taught. She bought all of our programs. She became a consultant with our company. Then she made up her mind she was going to be my closest advisor. Today, she is my business partner. And she was listening to all this, and she was thinking of the boardrooms that she was in when they were trying to merge banks, and they couldn't get along. They couldn't figure out how to make decisions. And she thought if they only had this information. So she made up her mind she was going to put a program together. And she studied everything, and she put a program together. It was a phenomenal program that would help people change paradigms. It's called Thinking into Results. This program is designed to change paradigms. It's all over the world today. It's a self-contained seminar. You study this for 6 months, you'll study it for the rest of your life. Your world will never be the same again. Never. Don't look at somebody else and say, what are you going to do? What they're going to do makes no difference. It makes no difference. You see, it's your paradigm that you want to think about. It's not their paradigm, it's your paradigm. You make up your mind that you're going to change you. You didn't sit down to look at this by accident. You have been attracted to this, and it was attracted to you. This can change your life just like mine. Look at, I've gone into prisons with this information, maximum security prisons. I've gone into schools. I went into the Prudential of America, the largest insurance company in the world. We raised our sales by hundreds of millions of dollars. One senior VP said that he thinks we put it over $1 billion. I've traveled all over the world with this, literally all over the world. You have an opportunity here to really study in depth what I'm talking to you about here. If you really want to make things happen, I guarantee you this will help you do it. And when you get into this, you're with us forever. And I guarantee you, now you're going to need a telescope to look back and see where you were. This program is designed to change paradigms. Sandra Gallagher is the lady that invented it. She's the president and chief executive officer of our company, the Proctor Gallagher Institute. She's my business partner. She's absolutely brilliant. And she took everything that I teach and put it in a very organized manner that changes paradigms. Now let's remember what a paradigm is. A paradigm is a mental program that has almost exclusive control over our habitual behavior, and almost all of our behavior is habitual. Now when people hit a bit of a tough time, what's the first thing they do? They start to lower their standard of living. That is a terrible error, a terrible error. Never let that happen. Don't ever lower your standard of living to meet your income. Make up your mind right now that you're only going to think of how to do it, and you're going to do it. You're going to take your income up to meet your standard of living. I'm in a beautiful studio here. It's in my own backyard. I can run 4 cameras in here all at the same time. I can broadcast all over the world in here. I was sitting in my backyard under an umbrella, and I was thinking, I could build a studio back there. And I got the beautiful idea in my mind. It's all lit up. I've got the sound. I've got everything. And I'm streaming right to you from the studio. It's about 1,200 square feet. Absolutely beautiful. All soundproof. Top equipment. Do you know why? I had a dream. I'm living in it. I had a dream that I was going to do this business for the rest of my life. I visited Earl Nightingale one time in Chicago at 333 North Michigan in the early 60s. And I spent an hour with him. And when I was finished, I said, Earl, what's the real deal? Well, he says, there's no deal. He says, there's no secret. He said, you just simply figure out what you love to do and dedicate your life to it. I got so excited right at that moment because I knew exactly what I'd love to do. I'd love to do what he was doing. That was around 1963, 64. In 1968, I left my own company. I was earning hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, over $1 million some years. I took a job for $18,000 a year. 5 years later, I was earning $33,000. But I was doing what I wanted to do. I was working with my mentor. I got an education that you couldn't buy. And you know something? I've been repaid time and time again. 5 years later, I decided, I took this pen in my hand, and I said, I'm going to build a company that operates all over the world. The Proctor Institute is in 100 different countries. This is the best information you're going to find. I don't know anybody else that's teaching this. I really don't. Not the way we're teaching it. People often say, Bob Proctor's a motivational speaker. I'm not a motivational speaker. I don't ever want to be I think I'm a teacher. I teach people what paradigms are, how they're formed, how they can be changed. I'm under contract right now, or our company is, to write a new book, Paradigm Shift, for Proctor Penguin, largest publishing company in the world. I love this subject. Don't ask anyone what they think you should do. Make a decision. You're going to do this. You're going to get involved in this. I don't care if you have to go and borrow the money from your grandmother. You're going to make a decision right now, today, that you are never going to lower your standard of living. You have the potential that God gave you. You've got all the potential in the world. Anything anybody else does, you're quite capable of doing. But you've got to make a decision to do it. And don't worry about where the money or everything's going to come from. It'll come. When the Maharishi Yogi decided to take transcendental meditation to the world, somebody said, where's the money going to come from? It's going to cost a lot of money. He said, wherever it is right now. When you make a decision, you'll always find the money. The way will always show itself. I want to thank you for giving me your attention. I think it's fairly obvious I love doing this. I've really enjoyed it, and I hope you have.